Welcome back to the Comic Bins. I am Paul Hearn by Mr. Neil.
Hi, I'm Dr. Evil.
Are you Dr. Evil, though?
I don't know. Do you want me to shave my head and find out? Because I don't want to.
That'd be kind of interesting if you could. Do it.
No.
you got a good head.
I have self-respect.
Ooh,
You can't get me.
You got good hair, Neil. You got good hair. I'm not gonna lie.
Uh-huh.
You got good hair. Obviously, Neil is one of my compatriots. Did I say that right? Compatriots? You went to college. I don't know. Yeah, okay, good. Thanks.
Yes, I took a writing and rhetoric class. You said it right.
All right, thank you. From the Spidey Dude Experience, from the Spidey Dude Network. Neil is awesome. He loves comics, and I love that about him. He's very earnest about loving comics, like myself. I don't always agree with everything Neil says, and I love that about him. I love that we have very differing views on things. And I think that only enhances conversation, to be honest. I think it's good to have contrasting ideas. And one thing that I know that he likes and I like, and I'm curious what his views on things are things like Mark Gruenwald's great and fantastic The Captain run by Mark Gruenwald and oh my gosh, Kieran Dreyer. This is one of my favorite, or if not favorite, Captain America story. I definitely love Winter Soldier by Brubaker. I know a lot of people love that, and it's rightfully so. Maybe one of the best.
It's usually a tie between Gruenwald, Brubaker, and Wade, or his first run with Kubert.
Yeah, or no, Garney, right?
No, as the artist. Kubert was the artist.
Was it Kubert the artist? I could have sworn it's Garney. Wait, I think
it might have been both. It might have been rotating art team.
Maybe. Whatever. Either way, it's funny. It's Operation Rebirth?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I don't love it like everybody else. I think it's a tad overrated, personally. That's
fair.
That's just me. But I also like Rob Liefeld's Captain America.
It's not his Flash run.
Yeah, well, for sure. But
or his Fantastic Four, but
I've never read his Fantastic Four. That's one of the runs of Fantastic Four I have not read, actually.
It's some of his and Wieringo's best work.
Really?
Yeah.
And they did Flash, right?
Yeah. His Flash is like his magnum opus.
Oh, yeah. I've read a good portion of that. I've read up to Terminal Velocity.
Hang on, let me grab my mic real quick. Kingdom Come is overrated and kind of ruined superhero.
Wow. We're hold on. We need a medic. I'm about to kill Neil. No. It's
not necessarily the story itself, but it's what came out of it. Like the culture of, like, angry Superman, killer Wonder Woman, like that kind of stuff. Those traits that came out of Kingdom Come rather than Kingdom Come itself. Where it's kind of like Injustice, where after like evil Superman happened, like DC realized they could get away with it more often, and they started doing it more. So that's one of the reasons I don't like Kingdom Come as much, is because of the impact it had. Man. It's great Alex Ross work, and Mark Waid's dialogue is great. But that's not why we're here, is it?
Well, yeah, but really quickly, yeah, you're right. We're not here for that. But we're gonna put a bookmark in that. I'm gonna bring you back, because this is, again, another great. This is why I love Neil so much. I've grown to embrace the fact we disagree so much, because, again, this is great conversation. So we're gonna come back to that at some point in the future. This is great. Maybe on my show, your show, doesn't matter. We're gonna come back. This is fodder for good stuff. Anyway, yeah, we are here for Mark Gruenwald's The Captain story. Now, Neil thought I meant the entire Gruenwald. And did you really read 10 years of comic books?
It was only like 137 issues, right?
Holy shit.
Because it was 307 to 443, right?
Yeah, it was a lot. And we're not going to talk about all of it, but I just want to say it's very impressive you did that. That's really impressive.
It took a while.
I'm sure
it did. It kind of helped that I got the vaccine before we were supposed to go on. So
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Which is awesome. That's actually something I wanted to do for a long time. And I know we kind of talked before the show. Maybe we'll do a Gruenwald, Squadron Supreme story at some point, which is, I think, again, that's also another classic, Marvel classic, or a forgotten classic, you could say. Did you have something you wanted to share? Did you grab something?
Sorry.
Oh,
no, my phone. That was my phone.
I thought you were grabbing something to show. Okay.
because I can't hear them when I have my headphones in. So if someone needs something downstairs, I have my phone so they can text me.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm a very
So
loud. I'm a very loud person, so they can hear that, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm the same. I'm loud too. I'm loud too. So anyway, this episode we're going to talk a little bit about the captain, and I'm curious, Neil, your your kind of views on the story. I think you like it like me. But for those who don't know what it's about, it's very much, in my opinion, and I'm curious if you agree with this. I would say it's pretty much all 60%, maybe even more than that, 70% of I think Falcon Winter Soldier, what it's based off of. As far as
I think the wider notes of the broader like beats of the captain's storyline were used in Falcon Winter Soldier, because they're kind of skipping a lot of history in between the captain
sure.
and Rick Remender's cap run to
Mhm.
get to get from point A to point B. But the general philosophy of what the captain's storyline is and what happens in it, those particular beats are still there.
Absolutely.
And in a way, I think Falcon Winter Soldier emphasizes the timelessness of those story beats.
Exactly. No, and I think, and for those who don't know, and again, you got to read the story. It's a phenomenal story, and it's issues 332 to 350. And then if you want to get really crazy, you can read Iron Man 228, which is a crossover issue between the run. And this to me is what vintage, and I say vintage in a way of like more, not because it's old, because it's from the 80s, but like we're talking vintage, like great classic Marvel storytelling. I think this is what good, solid, fun Marvel comic books, superhero comic books should, but what they aspire to be. Not uberly dark, not super depressing, not it's political, but in a very tasteful way that I think a lot of people can at least relate to. And it's not, I don't think, just a black and white, like this is bad, this is wrong. It does tie in, at least from like, there,
I
yeah,
think in I think in some ways there are some components that Gruenwald basically just puts a tack in it and says this is bad. Let's
well, right, yeah,
But like overall, I think that there are certain bipartisan elements of it that are emphasis that Gruenwald I think had his um had a good censor on, and I think that at the time, because let's see, sorry, I'm trying to think of when this was like the early '80s, right?
this is like more like I would say mid to late 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So let me look
Oh
this
yeah,
up.
so like just as the Reagan administration was petering out, I think.
Yeah, 87. 87 is when I think it got kicked off. So yeah, exactly. Well, Reagan's
Yeah,
in the book, right?
yeah, it's in there somewhere. I just didn't bother to look.
No. No, no,
um,
no, totally.
but I think that uh, when you look at like the media surrounding that era,
Yeah,
I think Gruenwald very much had his finger on the pulse of American politics at the time.
he
You
did.
you had especially with Reagan, because Reagan pushed like the Reaganomics economic model, and with that came a certain like a hyper nationalism
Mhm.
that I think was reflected both in the readership of Captain America, who were basically begging Gruenwald to make U.S. agent or make the new Captain
Yeah,
America like the new like
the
the
Punisher.
patriotic Punisher, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And sorry, I forgot where my point was going there.
No, no, no.
but but but
You're hitting
but
it,
but,
man. Yeah.
but Gruenwald I think understood like the hyper nationalist rhetoric of both his audience and the general American public, because
Mhm.
John Walker is not necessarily a bad man,
I agree. Mhm.
far from it. In fact, he's probably a better man than either you or I will be. But something that kind of got uh emphasized in Falcon Winter Soldier that I think was kind of underplayed here was his radicalization by the system.
Yes.
He's very much a military man who who fights for the system rather than the ideals of the
Right.
country that he's fighting for.
Right.
He I think that even he that Gruenwald even goes as far as to say that like he's not a government stooge, but he's the closest thing you can get to be without being one. And I think that that's a very
That's a good point.
potent characterization of John Walker, that he's a good man, but that he's been, I guess, indoctrinated into like the hyper nationalist rhetoric of the United States Army, something that was reflected later on in post 9/11 America
Mhm.
by like the mission accomplished banner on behind Bush and during his
Oh
speech,
yeah. Oh
and
man.
was also emphasized in the Falcon Winter Soldier show when they're talking about how great Walker was during the War on Terror, but then like in later episodes you see him kind of reflecting on the horrible things he had to do in the Middle East to earn
Mhm.
those medals of honor that everyone's
Wasn't
praising.
proud for. Yeah, and I love it. Again, people are so hard on John Walker, and again, when you compare him to Captain America, like from the movies and the MCU, yeah, like it's a night and day difference. But what I love that they emphasized on is that he makes mistakes, and but at the same time, like he says to them in that one episode, he says, "You made me." Like you created this, like you created this person that I am this way because of you, like
And
this is
they make a point in the show, like when he's at his court martial thing in front of the committee,
yeah,
like they make a point like you're not going to receive any pay and no benefits, which is a
yeah.
very stark commentary on how the U.S. Claims like we spend so much money on our military budget, but we
Mhm.
can't afford to pay those that have served.
Yeah, yeah,
And
no,
that's
exactly,
something
yeah.
and there's a lot of like claims that like Falcon Winter Soldier is political, but they're political in the wrong way
Yeah.
because it's weird. Like I think the viewership of Falcon Winter Soldier unfortunately doesn't have the same pulse on society that the writers do.
I actually would agree with that, and I think that's what makes that show so good is that I think it does emphasize things and helps it to kind of bring some issues to a mainstream audience, but I don't think it bangs it over the head necessarily either. But it definitely brings up some good points, and I brought up on the Marvel newscast, or excuse me, Marvel fan show, and brought that up and said I like the fact that this kind of for people maybe who aren't as into it or whatever can kind of get into the ideas of what they're trying to bring in.
I
But
think it's also funny that Ike Perlmutter was the head of the VA for a while during the Trump administration. I think that's I don't think that's like a direct jab at him, but I think that's
yeah,
very damning of Marvel to basically throw the guy who owns them who owns them under
owns
Marvel under
them
the
right now
buzz. Yeah.
for right now by name only at this point. But
To be fair, he managed to get the Inhumans made, so he's got some grip on them.
not anymore. I don't know if he has it anymore, but back to the story. And I'm glad you agree with me on the idea that this is definitely still heavily the beats are all still there, and I think that's what's so interesting. It makes the Falcon and Winter Soldier so good is that it brought in, I think, Rick Reminder's introduction of the Falcon, which I think is very very good still, which I talked about in a previous show, but also the fact that this is again one of my favorite stories and why you need to have the right person being Captain America. Now in this story, it's obviously Steve Rogers, but in MCU, it's going to be
The Falcon, they kind of
Falcon,
telegraph that from like a mile away.
right? But what I love about this, and they use John Walker in similar ways, and people, and when they read this comic book series, and you brought it up too, is that yes, the biggest criticism you're going to get is that it's dated. It's and the one thing that Grunwald has never been great on, and I wouldn't say it's not great. It's just he's never been a strong suit. It's not been bad, but it's not a strong suit. Is dialogue. Dialogue is not his best friend. He's good when it counts and when he needs it, but it's the weakest part of the book. But if you can get past, I think some of the dialogue in this comic book series, you're going to love this series, in my opinion, because again, even there's moments with John Walker that's made me still to this day, Neil, drop my mouth. Like I was like, damn. Like, and I don't want to spoil it. People online have spoiled it, and I know who they are, and they suck. Sorry, you suck. Um, but yeah, I'll say it again. No, but like great moments here. And the way he wrote it, and again, the dialogue was great. I'm like, man, Grunwald brought it. And I gotta say, John Walker, he just to me just this is why I like him. This comic book series is why I like John Walker as a whole, because like you said, he's not a bad person. He's made mistakes, but in here you get to see how like he gets treated on multiple levels and what he has to live up to. And there's one major thing, which is kind of a minor spoiler, but that we'll get into a little bit later when we're wrapping up, that I think that I wish they would have went with a little bit harder in the series of the Falcon Winter Soldier, that it's in this is one of my favorite aspects of the Captain. But one thing that I love from the story, and I'm curious your thoughts, is, and I don't, people don't talk about it enough, is the fact that the story starts off with Captain America being told by the government, okay, the U.S. government says, "Hey, Captain, we own you. We own you. We own the rights of Captain America. You have to do what we say." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "No, I don't care." And then they go, "You have to turn everything in." And he thought about it. He's like, "Well, I don't want to turn. This is who I am." But at the end, it goes against what I believe in. And in the end, he gives up, like, again, the shield, which is a symbolic of his, essentially his soul, right? Like, that's the soul of Captain America. He gives it up. He's like, "Nope, I'm not compromising. I'm gonna give up a piece of myself to not compromise." It's such a beautiful moment, and it's so anti-established that I love it, because I'm a little punk rock at heart. I love not going or going with the grain. I love going against the grain. Zig when everyone zags. And I just love that Captain America is this, apple pie eating guy, is like, "Nope, I'm not going to let the government own and dictate what I do." And that's why I love Civil War, the movie, because it very much is based in Grunwald comics. So I'm curious, I threw a lot at you, Neil. What's your take at that? I'm curious.
So I'm not a big punk rock guy, so I can't provide commentary on that
That's
end.
fair. That's fair.
But I think that the first issue where the government's basically telling him to play ball and he says no, I think is a major subversion of what people think of when they think of Captain America, and what people think of when they brought in U.S. Agent.
A good subversion.
Yeah, because people, whenever they think of Captain America, they think of like the World War II propaganda. They think of like the guy who like punches Hitler in the face. And while this isn't necessarily spitting in the face of that, this is Steve, I guess, an open defiance of the system that essentially made him into who he is. And I think this is a very powerful moment, because up until now he's not had a problem with it. Well, he has during the Watergate / Secret Empire storyline, but until then he was willing to play ball with it until it just became intolerable for him. And I think that's the problem is that, like, nowadays in Marvel Comics, people get tired of the government every Tuesday, so it doesn't have as big of an impact.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. You're right.
But I think that, like, Steve living or coming back after his nomad phase, and then being told basically, "Get on your knees, little boy. You're the U.S. government's toy now,"
huge.
and him saying no and basically giving up with like no compromise, I think was probably a big shock to people back then.
Absolutely.
Where he just gave it up.
Yeah, no, totally. I think you said it best. Like, that was a complete shock, because I think people, they saw him be nomad when his ideals didn't line up with the government. That was a whole thing, like with Nixon and the Secret Empire stuff, when the Englehart, they brought in that idea. And again, that's interesting. I love that aspect of Cap. And a lot of people, it's funny, when Civil War happened, a lot of people reference Nomad, right? Like, "Well, this is like Nomad." It's like, no, dude, this is like more like Grunwald, because I'm not sure what your opinion of Civil War the movie is exactly, Neil, but go ahead.
I think it's a good movie. I think that it kind of messed up how everyone sees Spider-Man in the MCU. That's not relevant.
Yeah, it's not relevant.
But I think it handles Cap's arc well up until like Bucky becomes the central focus.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of a consequence of mixing in Winter Soldier with Civil War.
Right.
But I think that up until Winter Soldier becomes the focus, that Steve's moral compass guiding him, saying like, "I'm not going to sign the Accords because I'm giving up my right to choose." Right. I think that's very in line with how Gruenwald positioned Steve in most moral dilemmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a moment here. I'm curious, because my partner Sean and I would always argue this, always, and he has good arguments, but I think I think my opinion's right. When he throws a shield, when Tony says, that's not your shield. My dad made that shield," or whatever. And he kind of whatever, and he just throws it like down to him.
he looks sad. He looks sad, and then he drops it. Yeah.
But like I always looked at it as like this Grunwald comic book exactly, because yeah, sure, he doesn't want to give it up because that's a piece of him, but in the end he's like, no compromise. I like, it doesn't, that means the shield means something to me, but it doesn't mean everything to me. And it was symbolic to Tony, like, it doesn't mean as much to me as you think it is. Bam. And that's what I feel like in this comic book. Again, this is art, you interpret art the way you want. This is how I interpreted that scene. It's how I interpreted that part in the comic book, that where he walks away and drops the shield off. He doesn't want to do it, but at the end of the day, excuse me, he's like, this is not who I am. I am.
I think it kind of ties into his larger arc of you know, his self identity, because you know, you notice in Infinity War he never calls himself Captain America. He calls himself Steve Rogers.
Right.
That's always kind of been like a thing that he's done consistently, but that's the first time without the shield that we've seen him calling himself Steve Rogers. So he's at least more secure in his identity as Steve than Captain America. And it's everyone else who wants him to be Captain America. And right. And you know, Tony brings him back the shield in Endgame, but in Civil War, that's him basically like throwing down the shield and going just to being Steve Rogers, because it kind of it's kind of like a pseudo conclusion to his arc of government loyalty. Because you know, Avengers 1, he wakes up, or you know, Captain America 1, he's totally in on the government because you know, World War II, Nazis bad, pretty black and white. Then he wakes up. Then he wakes up in he wakes up, and then in Avengers, he's fairly like, you know, still loyal, but like he's noticing like that shield, which in this iteration is a US government agency, not a world peacekeeping organization, even though the US military is the world police these days, but that's not the point. But he sees the US government making weapons with the Tesseract, which is what, you know, the Red Skull used to make those weapons, and he kind of sees his foundations shaken a little as Captain America. And then Winter Soldier has those I guess shackles broken completely by the revelation that shield has been Hydra all along. I personally think that like when you talk about like national security issues, making it was just like, oh, it was Hydra, guys, that's kind of a lame cop out, because it removes all accountability from it. It goes into like more of my personal politics, but it's kind of like a weird cop out to just have like shield, oh, it was all Hydra, guys, shield didn't do anything wrong.
Which I'm and I've never been, and again, I love Winter Soldier. I think it's a top 5 easily all timer superhero film, or and whatever you want to call it. It's a phenomenal film. I love it to death. It's not, I don't love the idea of Hydra being behind everything. I know Hickman did that with Secret Warriors back in the day, which I never was a fan of. In fact, I think I was reading Secret Warriors in a little bit, and I just kind of was like, I just don't like this storyline. It's just too like, it was, you know, it's like Vince McMahon, it was me all along, you know.
It feels like trying to I don't know if you've heard like the controversy behind a game called 6 Days in Fallujah.
I have not.
It's basically a game that not intentionally, but it does it anyway, so it gets derided for it, but it basically like covers up like US war. The advertising kind of covers up like US war crimes in Iraq during the 2003, during the conflict in the Middle East. But I think that Winter Soldier was kind of the shaking of Steve's trust in the government, and and during Civil War, when he drops the shield, I think that's him renouncing the identity that the American government gave him, because he no longer represents America's interests. He represents his own interests.
Yeah, no, that's very valid.
When Tony becomes the government stooge and not him.
Right. So obviously, they make John Walker the Captain America.
Real quick though. Please, I don't remember if there was this issue or if it was like an earlier one, but there's that government meeting of like who will be the next Captain America, and someone says, where someone says,
Falcon.
What about Sam Wilson? And everyone's like, yeah, we're not ready for a black Captain America.
Dude,
that's what I mentioned, like things not aging well. That comment has aged so well over the past 4 decades.
It's crazy, dude. When I read that, I couldn't. Well, first of all, I couldn't believe they did that back then. He even said that. I'm like, whoa! Like, I was a little taken aback. I'm like, he went for it, man. And I was I was blown away. And again, I talk about this book being so good. This is where dialogue I think flourishes. He does a great job of like that whole scene is great.
He excels in the government like optics discussion. Like
Yes.
when they're talking like behind the scenes government dialogue, he's really good at nailing like that skeevy bureaucrat who's like, I want to look good for the press, but I don't want to like push too many buttons to get there.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at nailing down that kind of weaselly behavior from like which you associate with a typical bureaucrat, and then the sort of unhinged dialogue that Walker slowly degrades into. He's really good at selling that gradual transformation.
Yeah. What's crazy? That's a great point. I always loved even Val Cooper, who I always associate as the X Factor person because she was Freedom Force and then became X Factor's kind of liaison because
then she was with the X-Men, not with the X-Men, but like she worked really close with them during the ONE stuff during Decimation.
Yeah, I don't. That's back and I stopped reading X-Men. Oh man, it's a whole different podcast. But no, Val Cooper is someone I've always liked, and I thought he wrote her really really well too. I loved her and John's interactions. She seemed I don't know. It was really nice to kind of get that idea, kind of seeing like the government person trying to cover everything for John Walker, trying to it was cool. It was a cool dynamic, and again, Grunwald nailed that. I loved here that we had the Bucky and the Battlestar, the origin of Battlestar, basically, which we got in the Falcon Winter Soldier, which I wasn't expecting.
I'm kind of glad they skipped over naming him Bucky at first, because that would have been like the way they reacted to John Walker in general. Like the audience reaction to him in general was horrible. I feel bad for Wyatt Russell, even though the point of him was to be like a not smug but smarmy kind of
totally
good looking, coy looking guy for the camera. It's like that wink he does at the end of the first episode.
So good.
It's really good acting. You love to hate him.
You love to hate him, but that's John Walker.
But I feel bad for like Wyatt Russell because everyone got mad at him.
Man, people are weird, man. People take things way too seriously.
But take that and like imagine like it 10 times worse if they named Lamar Bucky before they changed him to Battlestar for like they do it in this comic, and like I'm surprised that no one gets mad at this because like someone literally, I think someone behind the scenes told Grunwald that's racist.
Yeah,
he's like, oh god, he's like, oh god, hang on.
Yeah, and he handled it well. He handled it well. See, and this is where I love that. I just love that he really handled all these characters really with a lot of TLC, and I think that to me is. I don't know, and I'm not saying other writers don't do that in comic books, but Mark just had a way of really nurturing a character the right way. Again, you may not love the way he wrote dialogue, and he could be cheesy at times. I get it, like just in stories that he came up with, but he just knew how to handle characters. Like, obviously, these Marvel characters, he did such a great job. I mean, you write Captain America for 10 years, Neil. Yeah, you're gonna write some stinkers, but he was on it for a reason. Like he wrote some great stories. Bloodstone is still one of my favorite Captain America stories. I was a fan. That's Indiana Jones Captain America. Like you can't go wrong with that. I mean, it's so good. But I do love the fact that we get Battlestar, the origin. I love the fact that him and Lamar are friends. I love that they brought that in over from the show because I love that aspect of. In fact, I love the show did a almost better job at that point, but. I did really like the dynamics they had in the comic too, but I love them in the show. In fact, I'm not gonna lie, I really was bummed out when they killed him off. Honestly,
he's a very likable character, and the actor who plays him does a great job of translating that into the comic, into the show.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched the behind the scenes, Neil, but I guess that guy who played Battlestar is a big comic book fan, and I think he had this very comic book initially. So when he didn't know he was trying out for it, Marvel, and when he found out, he was, wait, I know who that guy is. It's Battlestar. He's on that cover. And they showed this comic book in the behind the scenes that he had. This little comic that he said he had, which is, by the way, Ron Friends, I believe.
I think so.
It is. It's a fantastic Kirby cover.
Real side note. I think the Captain America movies have had a better job with costume direction than other movies. Like the Eternals costumes, I'm not a big fan of, but like the Cap movies have had like almost no bad costume decisions. Like they did a fantastic job translating. Was it Eminen's Falcap?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and then like I think that the tactical gear for U.S. Agent or New Cap, U.S. Agent and Battlestar was a
Great.
wonderful translation because like
Absolutely.
and it's one of the, and like everyone talks about tactical, which is a real thing.
Sure.
um
Yeah.
and it's kind of a problem with modern comic book movie costume designs that everything has to be like tactical gear. I think that the Cat movies are one of the few kind of franchises that get away with that because of its military-esque
Oh, for
nature.
sure. Yeah, totally.
And
I think
I think that they've translated those costumes exceptionally well, especially the U.S. agent costumes.
if you would have told me, Neil, when I was your age, Neil, I didn't have Captain America on TV besides that one movie that Canon Films made.
Would you pull over for a second? I'm not feeling very well.
I actually like that movie. I mean, like it's bad, but I like it. But
It's fun in a really
it's
bad
fun.
way.
It's ironically good.
It's aged horribly, but it's also aged amazingly.
Exactly. When I was your in all seriousness, when I was your age, my early 20s, we hadn't gotten Captain America at all. And if you would have told me at your age, or that like what you said, like that Captain America would have the best costumes, like from page to screen, I would have been like, you're out of your mind, dude. Like, how are you gonna make Captain America cool from page to screen? And they happen to do it every film, and I mean every film, even Avengers, which is still my goddamn favorite costume. I don't care what you all say, it's the best.
If they fixed the cowl, it would be better. I like the main
the
costume,
neck.
but
It's the neck.
but Chris Evans' neck is too thick.
It's the neck. It's the neck. The cowl's not the problem, or the cowl. It's the mask isn't the problem. It's the neck.
It looks like it's just like a big condom over his head.
And you know who had the same problem? Sam Wilson.
Yeah, like the weird like Anthony Mackie's neck is like kind of bleeding into his his jawline.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
I shudder to think of how they'll do Cyclops' costume.
Dude, they'll go gold team, old school gold team.
They'll go the either that or they'll go the Utopia costume design from like the 2000s.
Yeah, the Utopia design isn't bad.
I just don't think they're gonna go for the condom Cyclops design.
I love when the costumes like that. It's old school, and I actually really liked the Falcon Cap costume from Falcon Winter Soldier. Actually, really grew on me, to be honest.
The stealth suit. I think the Winter Soldier one. I think is the best one design wise.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
but I think it's either gonna be Jim Lee era Cyclops or like a really tactical version of the Kirby costumes.
But which I like those. I'm first class. We're gonna, this is me. This is us. I'll always get sidetracked. You know me, Neil. I don't need much to get me sidetracked.
You're not happy. You're not a hard man to please.
No, I'm not.
Also, side note. This issue 336.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a really good job of bringing in like previous characters from his run.
Oh yeah,
like Demolition Man and Nomad. Yeah. Like good use of kind of roping them back into the overarching narrative of his run. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
no, that's one thing I did like about this comic book. And I don't know if you ever saw my panel on Twitter when I was rereading this. And there's a panel where like it's not this issue, but they're all on like motorcycles, and it's like a big wide panel, and it's just like there's so much going on because they're all. This is why I'm saying it hasn't aged well in the sense of his dialogue, because back in the 80s, folks, writers didn't believe in having captions as narration. They believe, or as far as inner monologues, they thought that that would be a narration tool for the most part. I mean, every once in a while it'd be narration of like the inner monologues of characters. But back in the day of the 80s, in these years, Neil, and then you know this, you've read a lot of comics in your day. They believed in thought bubbles. And that's all there's that panel, they're already motorcycles. It's like one big wide panel, and it's all everyone has a thought bubble. Everyone. And it's so much. There's like 4 or 5 characters all thinking something, and it's like, whoa, it's so much. Again, I wish I would have saved the panel, but I didn't. Go read the comic. You'll see what I mean. But with all that being said, you bring up a great point. He doesn't enrich Captain America with a lot of great supporting characters in this series, and he kind of uses this. I think this storyline particularly to bring a lot of them out with Nomad, Demolition Man, but not just them, but like Nomad's girlfriend, which I forgot her name. What does she turn into
Bernie.
eventually? No, not Bernie. It's the Nomad's girlfriend's the blonde girl. She becomes like gosh darn it, Miss Liberty or something. She eventually shows up at the very end, towards the end of
no, wait, Bernie was Steve's girlfriend. What the fuck am I thinking?
No. But she's in the story though. She's in the series. Which is again I like Bernie's character, but I forgot her name. But she plays a different part with U.S. Agent later on as well, that Grunwald keeps using. But anyway, she becomes a major part of the story.
I also thought of Diamondback for no reason, even though but she's in here too, I think.
No, she is. This is what he uses Diamondback to this is where her start of being good is in this comic book. So again, he uses so many different characters. As you see right here, you see Falcon, you see Nomad, you see Demolition Man. You see Tony Stark and Iron Man make an appearance. Black Panther makes an appearance.
Silver Centurion, baby.
Yeah.
My taste in Iron Man armor is eclectic. Like I love a lot of armor. There's very few armors I don't love, but like my standouts are the Silver Centurion,
absolutely,
the Pentagon armor, the like extremist one.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's a good armor.
The Pentagon, the Model Prime. The black and gold armor.
I like black and gold too. Man, we are on the same page on this, man.
Yeah. Okay. We may not agree on Spider-Man, but we have good taste in Iron Man suits.
Yeah. See, this is the Silver Centurion armor, and this, man, we probably agree more on Spider-Man than you realize. It's just Dan Slott we made.
It's just that's like that's the one that comes up the most because of
how long it's been. Yeah.
But this armor is so kinographic, and I know it showed up in
Iron Man 2,
in Iron Man 3 because
it showed up in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, it was the Mark 17, I think. Like it was one of one of the dozens of ones that were flying in the air.
Right.
It's like a background, but I think like behind the scenes, like the Silver Centurion is its own armor from the race. You're thinking of like the race car one. Right?
Yeah, race car. That's what I thought it was.
That's a different one. But like the Silver Centurion is confirmed. Hang on, let me see if I can find it.
See if you can find it. I'll see if I can share. I'll see if we can share it. And because I always thought the race car version, which I thought that was a great armor, by the way. That's an underrated armor. I always considered that to be the Silver Centurion. But regardless, it's funny. I think a lot of Iron Man people love the Silver Centurion armor. I think it's a fan favorite.
Hang on, here we go. I'm gonna post it in the private chat.
Okay, let's see if I can get this out here. 1 second. All right. Let's see. I'll share screen. I'll go behind the scenes here. Let me get hold on. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, no, Silver Centurion is the best. Did already? Yeah, hold on. Let me.
Everyone always gets upset when I say I like the black and gold armor. I don't get that.
No, I like it. I think you're on that, man. I really do like. I really do like that armor as well, personally.
And you know what? I don't like Slott's Iron Man run very much, but I like the idea of like having a different armor for every occasion. And like some of the designs that came out of it, like the Fin Fang Foombuster is fucking dumb, but I love it nonetheless because of its absurdity.
Right. Hold on, I'm gonna share the screen here, and let's see. Can you, Neil? I can't see anything, so just bear with me here.
No.
Is it showing up yet, or is it singing?
Yeah,
now. Hold on. It's coming up. It's coming up. I promise, people. It's coming. It's coming. I know. I went crazy there. Hold on. Oh gosh, darn it.
Hang on, just Google it.
Well, it's coming. It's just taking. My internet's slow because of StreamYard. There we go.
Oh, here we go.
All right, people. This is great. This is great YouTube television, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, Okay.
Yes, yes, see
Oh,
it exactly.
yeah. You're right. That is a silver. That's basically a movie version of the a strict movie version of the Silver Centurion right there. Okay. So that's
I
in.
wish we'd gotten to I wish we'd gotten to see it like
No
more than just like
kidding.
in a background shot because this is like a beautiful recreation of the armor.
Absolutely. That's a great version, man. That's oh god. Silver Centurion. Why don't they just it's so good. So good.
Iron Man 3, aka a waste of my time.
I mean, yeah, it's not for everyone, but I'm with you. I'm not a big Iron Man 3 fan myself. That's a great I love that part though. It's obviously one you watch it for that scene alone, in my opinion.
The space armor in that movie was also keen, like the white and gold one.
Yeah. Dude, we should
Was
have
it
we should have a whole show about just Iron Man armor and just like going through
just jacking off different Iron Man suits.
Oh, dude, I'll do it, man. I freaking well, not that literally, but I love Iron Man costumes, and like you know what'd be cool to do at some point, Neil, would be the John Byrne John Byrne and John Romita Jr. arc of Iron Man because that's a very unique era that people don't talk about, which is I love that.
Because I think it's stuck between Michelini and I think another one.
Michelini and then Kasnowski, I forgot his name is. He did he did well. That's between that and Heroes Reborn, but I actually like that era before Heroes Reborn because it was the Hands of the Mandarin storyline with ForceWorks. I really like that stuff. But back to Captain America.
We spent 10 minutes talking about Iron Man armors in the Captain America show.
This is how we do it. Hey, he shows great. What you said, Neil, about Captain America's his supporting cast coming in. I personally, and people who don't know, this is Captain America. Captain America wore the U.S. agent armor before U.S. agent did in the comic books. I think this costume is an all-timer. I think this is a fantastic costume design.
I think it's aged amazingly. Like, I think it's had the pleasure of getting recreated well. Was it Daniel Acuna who recreated it for Falcap?
Who designed the Falcap?
No, who redesigned the U.S. agent costume for like the 2000s or the 2010s? Because like ever since he's had like one that has like the jacket folding over. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I don't know that one as well.
Hang on, let me go look it up.
There's only one. Well, don't worry because that's gonna take too long for me to attach it. But I will say that the recent one with Christopher Priest doing the writing, it's very much this with a little more like military in it, a little bit more, but it's pretty much this costume right here.
It's also a bit more tongue in cheek in terms of writing.
Yeah, no,
with the replaceable like the disposable shields. There's a Google image. You don't have to screen share it, but
okay,
this is what I'm talking about.
All right, I'll look that up later. But yeah, no, yeah. I really like this original costume a lot, and it's funny. I think this again, Ron. I think Ron Friends did most of the covers for this series because isn't that Red Friends again? Isn't that his signature right there?
Right there? I think so. Yeah. Wait, no, hang on. MZ.
It looks like Friends. I thought.
Let me go look this up.
But yeah, so I love the U.S. agent costume, and for those who don't know, again, I don't want to spoil it. I guess I will because he does get a legitimate Captain America shield, even though John Walker
it's Mike Zeck.
Oh, it's Zach. Okay. Yeah.
And with I think Bob McLeod's either inks or covers or colors.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, how he gets his shield is pretty cool, I think. And again, don't spoil because it kind of plays on a couple ideas of Captain America and Iron Man. It's cool. Again, I love the crossover between Iron Man and Captain America. It's super good.
This is when things weren't so convoluted. Like characters were constantly appearing in everyone's books. So like every time a guest showed up, it was like,
something.
Oh,
whoa, yeah, like, oh man, they're gonna show up, they're gonna hang out. This is great. No, you
But then,
nailed
but
it.
then like, but now like Spider-Man shows up in everyone's book.
As someone who defends Brian Bendis's breakout and New Avengers stuff, which I love, I
Mhm.
think the detriment of that has been we can have everyone be on a team. It's like, and then everyone can be in everyone's book. It's like,
And it's something that like only Hickman's Avengers I think really got down, like the everyone's an Avenger thing, because it played into the story a little bit.
right. No, it was, yeah, it was a little bit
Touch and
brutal.
go.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, but yeah, so kind of moving on. It also, I felt like, did like a great comic crossover, right? With the Fall of the Mutants kind of showing up with again, like I was like, man, like Grunwald did so much, like through this comic book. He, introduced all these different characters and major plot points, and also had, I don't know, like Fall of the Mutants show up, which is a great X-Men tie-in. But again, like he weaved it in his story very organically, and the way you need to do it, like Zdarsky did with Daredevil recently, with whatever King in Black, which is, again, I didn't read King in Black. I don't care about King in Black, but I thought he handled that really well and made it actually a big part of the story and pushed his narrative forward, just like Grunwald here. The greats can do it. So I don't know if
I
Zdarsky is a great, but he's good. I think he's good.
I think he's a modern great. I don't know if I would say like he's on the same level as Grunwald, but
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, he's still got a couple 100-issue runs to go until
He's got to put in. He's got a couple more, I think, runs that he needs to kind of make some noise with. And again,
I've heard rumors that he's taking over Hulk after Ewing, and that's, I feel bad for him because Immortal Hulk is such a high bar to clear now.
I almost think you should like just not retire Hulk for a while, but like just
Don't give him a run.
Yeah, just give it a year break, because Ewing's run is just legendary, man. You're not gonna get like it's a one of a kind, and like I freaking love that run. In fact, I'm behind. I need to catch up on that.
How far behind are you? We're on issue 46 now.
I'm only behind like 2-3 issues, not including the one shots. Oops, sorry, not including the one shots. So, moving on.
Side note: I don't like how my comic shop always gives me the one shots, even though I don't want them.
You just can't help but buy them.
No, they just put them in my pull box, and I can't have the heart to tell them no.
Dude, I used to do that same thing that happened to me too, But at the same time, you have to tell them no. That's how they know they're not doing it anymore. Just buy them and go. Okay, I'm good with in the one shots. I'm good. So this is the comic, Neil, that So when I was a youngin, I bought this off the spinner rack. I think at either a plaid pantry in Washington, which don't exist anymore except for in Oregon. And I'm pretty sure about this off a spinner rack. Had no idea what I was getting. And when you read this issue, it's a pretty heavy story. I love this comic. As a kid, I loved it. I realized that this person was not Captain America, that Captain America was the black suited Captain America. And all that being said, I love this comic book, and the cover is amazing. I don't know. I'm just curious if this. I thought I wanted to point out to you that this was the comic that I remember and first knew of the U.S. agent costume, and that there are 2 different costumes for Captain America, because I grew up on Secret Wars, the action figures. So that blue costume is I was like, what is this black costume? And so I loved it though. And so
my girlfriend wants to play 8-ball with me.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have an 8-ball with your girlfriend later?
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
It's like Game Pigeon on your phone.
Nah, I never really playing this.
Oh, you get to play like 2-person games on there.
So. Oh, your girlfriend, cute. Oh, young love, I love it. Speaking of your girlfriend, I won't keep you too much longer. Go back to hang out with her. So
she's a completely different city.
Well, I don't want to take you. You gotta hang out with your girl. You gotta talk to her. Yeah. But anyway, but this is kind of like the culmination of the story. And again, no spoilers here, but big stuff happens. Big, like altering John Walker forever.
And it also kind of does a great job of taking like all the various small plot points we've seen, like them trying to figure out like by committee who's going to be the next Cap and Bucky, and like it does because I don't know if this is a spoiler, but like left and right winger,
Yeah,
they
no, no,
they they
yeah.
are they are they are consequences of those by committee hearings,
Mm-hmm.
and they come right back to bite the U.S. government in the ass, and I love that.
Yes, yes. And again, Grunwald is playing with so much here. And again, this gets all paid off. This is a payoff from later. This looks like Friends to me. Is this Friends?
Hang on,
Confirmed. I can't. There's no way that's Zach. There's no
hang
way.
on. I'm looking it up. It's
All right, look it up.
340. It's 346, right?
Yes, 346. But and this gets paid off later on. This is another great comic book. Again,
This is Ron Friend's Good
I
Eye.
knew it.
I think it's Al Milgram's colors.
Milgram. Yeah, I love Milgram. He's so good. Good inker. Yeah, Milgram does inker. I'm thinking. Again, Flag Smasher. This is where you get a lot of the stuff from this run or from the Captain, or Falcon Winter Soldier. Yeah. And this is probably the comic I wanted since I was a kid forever. I've always wanted to see Cap versus US Agent. And this was a great payoff. This is a great issue. No spoilers here. Because this Return of the Red Skull is so good. I freaking love it. It's telegraphed, but it's beautiful and it makes sense. And I don't know. I know it's, and honestly,
there's like so much stuff going on. I think that like when Slott was writing, I know we're going back to Slott. I know.
It's cool,
I'm sorry.
It's cool.
But like there's a lot of elements here that I see repeated in Superior Spider-Man, with like all of Walker's personal enemies coming back to fight him in DC, and Walker's brutal fighting style aside, like the easy stuff to point out. Like I see a lot of similarities in terms of like the narrative structure of Gruenwald's of the Captain storyline within Slott's Superior Spider-Man.
I think you're on the money. Actually, I would not be shocked if he was a big fan of the series or this comic run in particular, and really wanted to kind of bring his own like kind of thing. Which again, I love Superior Spider-Man. I know you like it. Okay. Yourself.
I have a very love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, no, that makes sense. You don't loathe it like a lot of his other stuff, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
yeah. And now, what I think, what the difference between this though is that he managed to have a great climax between Captain America and U.S. Agent, and not have you, in my opinion, hate U.S. Agent. And again, how U.S. Agent handles everything, I think is so great, and I love John Walker here. I really do. And I think that there's great moments here that you just, this is why I wish they would have brought a little bit more from that angle and this is a minor spoiler, and it's not that big of a spoiler, is that John Walker, and this is what I was alluding to earlier, Neil, we're going to wrap up with this, is John Walker basically says, I'm not Captain America. I'm never going to be Captain America.
Because I'm not Steve Rogers.
Exactly. And he's like, Steve Rogers is a better man than I, and I need to like hand that over back to him because I it's too heavy for me to lift. I cannot be that person. I was really hoping that he was going to do that for Sam Wilson and say, hey, you know what? You are Captain America. Kind of the same kind of thing. But
I think it was kind of mostly implied rather than just outwardly spoken.
I think that's true.
Because like the 5th episode was kind of just dedicated to everyone saying like to Sam, you're Captain America now. Okay, bye. Like that scene with Sam and Bucky training at the Wilson house was kind of like their version of that. But like it was kind of shown like Walker just kind of nodding like he knew that he didn't need to be Captain America to be a hero. And I think that was, I don't think better, but I think it was good in its own separate way.
I agree. No, that's Neil, you said it beautifully. Honestly, I think that's really well said because you're right. It's different. It's not better, but it does work really well for that story in particular. I just personally would have thought it would have been awesome to have. I think people would have forgave John Walker in hindsight, to be honest, if he would say literally, no, Sam, you are Captain America, literally, like you are the better man, kind of a thing. But like they didn't outwardly, like you said, but I think you bring up a great point. They did do it in some respect with a nod.
Because like earlier in the episode when he was fighting the Flag Smashers and he dropped his shield, like his weird like I made this in the back of my barn shield.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
With his medals, which is bonkers.
yeah, like he drops the shield and he sees the van and he sees the flag smashers getting away and he could just pick up the shield and kill the flag smashers, but he abandons the shield to save
Yeah,
the members of the GRC. And I think that that was a very effective way of him abandoning the Captain America identity and showing that he has the capacity to be a hero in spite of all that he did.
right, right. No,
Which,
that's great. That's a great point. No, totally. I guess again, like we probably could go on for hours about the series. I mean, I really do. I think we could. I mean, plus our side tangents would be just crazy. But no, but I think we both love. I think we both love this comic series in particular, or comic storyline in particular. So I guess it sounds like you love it like me. I'm assuming. And I just kind of where do you hold this up in regards to your favorite Captain America stories? I'm not sure. Are you even a big? I know you like Captain America, but are you a big Captain America fan? Is this your favorite? Is it where does this kind of lie with your Cap stories? And are you a huge Captain America fan in general?
So I'm not a huge Cap fan in general. I mainly just pick up like the big ones,
Sure.
like the
Yeah, like
important
this.
stories.
Yeah.
The most experience I have with like long form Cap stories is either this run or the runs that have come since Civil War, like the
Sure.
like Brubaker. Well, Brubaker came before Civil War, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
The post the post 2000 comics. Like
Yeah.
you've got Remender's run, which I personally don't think was that great, even though
I
like,
liked it. I liked the original. I liked it.
I might be
Dimension Z was
because I'm
fun.
not. It might be because I'm not a big John Romita Jr. fan. Like I am way more. Everyone always says I'm way too critical of Romita Jr. when I've been bitching about him since like
I know,
2010.
dude. You have. I just. I think
Uh,
that's side tangent. Just keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
I
Keep
think
going.
it's Klaus Jansen's inks. It's not him. It's Klaus Jansen. We'll blame
Maybe.
him for it.
Maybe. Yeah.
And then you've got his Falcap, like his 6 issues. That was fine, but that was mostly
I
Stuart
loved
Immonen.
it. I love that series. Personally.
And then you had Spencer's run, which was you could tell who Spencer doesn't like in that run.
Yep. Yep.
And Coulter. And I kind of liked the first 6 to 12 issues of Ta-Nehisi Coates' run, but it felt like he just kind of got his wheels stuck in the mud but after he like became Steve, like the Legend of Steve. By issue 13, I felt like he kind of just ground his wheels in the mud and was unable to get out of it for like
was it
10 issues.
Was that when he went to jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I agree with you. I was really into it, and then like I kind of stalled when he went to jail, and I never went back. I want to because my friend Chris loves Coates' Cap run, and now this for forewarning people, I was not. I think Coates' Black Panther is overrated. I did not. I think it's not. It's okay. It's not great in my opinion.
He didn't really do a whole lot of like long lasting change on Black Panther. He mostly just kind of picked up on the Priest and Hudlin runs, and kind of the only major change he did was make it like a constitutional democracy.
And Priest, I still need to read that, but I've heard that's still the quintessential Black Panther.
That's still the best run. I don't like Hudlin's run. And it's not because of John Romita Jr. for once. Gotcha, bitch.
I don't hate Hudlin's run for a number of reasons. It's okay. It's not great. It's okay. But Priest stuff I heard is great. I love Christopher Priest as a writer. He's great. But I will say that Coates' Black Panther, not my thing. I tried, just couldn't get into it. His Cap was I feel like he was a much better comic book writer at that point with Cap's stuff opposed to the Black Panther. But
I think part of Coates' problem as a writer in general, and this kind of ties into his Cap run, so we're still on topic, is that he is a prose writer. And that's not a bad thing. No, I think that like I've read his like prose stuff and his work in the Atlantic. I think he's a phenomenal writer in terms of like his written prose. But I think that prose writers and script writers have completely different philosophies when it comes to how they sequence events. And I think that in Coates' case, he's thinking very long form. Like I don't think he thinks he's gonna get like 100 issue run like Gruenwald is.
Yeah, sure.
but I think he plots himself out a little too like he stretches himself too far
Yeah.
in terms of his pacing, and so it's not like a novel where everything is there and you have it. This is a monthly release where like your interest wanes slowly depending
Uh
on
huh.
how far thing depending on
Well said.
how fast the pace is going.
It,
I think that Spencer has this problem in some capacity, but he's better about managing his mystery box than Coates is.
yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I think that that's all 100%. When you're a comic book writer, and I know you're not the biggest Tom King fan, I don't think, but and I like Tom King, but
I like his like early stuff. I've stopped really liking him. Like I've noticed he kind of repeats the same general plot line over and over again since Mr. Miracle.
right, right. But hold on, just bear with me.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had, sorry, we just have a show where there's no topic. We just, you know, I'll say one. Yeah, we'll just do one top. We'll just do like one, like kind of like evergreen thing, and then just let it evolve from there.
Haha, 10 topics go.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, but Tom King said that one thing about comic books, like superhero comic books, is it's like it's like a very blue collar, very working man kind of thing. And I actually agree with that because it's not like it's not like, here's a story. I'm gonna write a comic book and it's gonna be a graphic novel, or a prose novel or whatever. It kind of exists in its own thing. Whereas with these mainstream DC Marvel comic books, on a monthly basis, you have to keep turning out a story and keep it like, again, like the pacing is a very specific thing, and it's not for everybody. And I think Coates, it just took a while, but I did think his Captain America was an improvement on that. So I'm curious to go back and read it because I did like what I read, but I've also seen people like try to talk mess on it, which I'm like, it's not that bad, but
Well,
whatever.
I think King himself is, I guess, victim to his own advice because I've noticed that his best work is like limited series, like the Omega Men, Vision.
Right.
Uh, Grayson was fairly limited in
Yeah,
scope,
limited. Like it had a limited
but
run as far as what time anyway.
yeah, but like his best work, like his Batman run suffers like after issue 25 or like
The wedding.
after the Bane arc,
Oh, Ben
like
Arca.
the first one, like the what was it, Island of Bane or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Which I like that. I like
I
that.
am Bane,
Yeah,
but
that was
like
solid.
after,
I thought it was solid.
but like the Dwarf Jokes and Riddles is where the book's pacing takes a downward turn
Hmm.
because like he has to get to number 50 for that wedding, and then the wedding doesn't happen. Everyone's upset because Tom King's been baiting it for so long,
Right.
and then he spends like the next like half of his run basically going like, guys, something's gonna happen, I promise, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but would you consider the Captain one of your favorite Captain America stories? You read a lot, it sounds like. So would you say it's one of your favorites?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's like quintessential Captain America reading, especially if you're looking to get into like if you're getting out of the movies, like you just saw Falcon Winter Soldier, and like, hey, I want to see more of that John Walker fella.
Yeah.
This is a great story that kind of expands upon the very
Absolutely.
the one problem I have with Falcon Winter Soldier is not its format, but its ability to show like as much stuff as possible.
Hmm.
And like, that's kind of one of the cruxes of having a movie slash TV show is that you have a very limited screen time,
Right.
but they kind of gloss over the major points of Walker's backstory. They change some elements,
Hmm.
uh, like especially with the in regards to Lamar and his
Yeah.
relationship with like his family. I think his family is non-existent in the
Yeah.
MCU.
I'm pretty sure it's not. Yeah.
And
Or in the
so
comic books. Yeah.
yeah, and so his origins are completely not completely different, especially because sliding time scale makes it
A little harder.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but like they're not radically different characters, but the Captain storyline definitely expands upon what what the MCU got like the bare bones of, correct?
Yeah.
And definitely shows Walker gradually evolving as a character.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You nailed it.
I noticed you had the Epic Collection, right?
This is actually it's basically an epic collection, but this is actually the OG one that came out like back when like the early or mid late 2000s. This is
Oh,
that
okay.
this is like I love
I,
this book, man. This is
I think there
great.
is an Epic Collection of
There, it just came
of the
out,
Captain.
or it's coming out next month, June. If bless you.
Thank
It's
you.
You're welcome. It's coming out next month. Apparently, it's missing like an important issue, like in
I
it.
think it's 339.B.
B.
There's like a B issue, I think,
It's.
in
I think I want to say it's 332. I want to say it's this issue. Like I want to say
oh
it's that. I think I could be wrong because I remember Comics by Perch. They were complaining like why like they said like yeah there's an epic coming out but it's actually missing like a really important comic. I'm like why wouldn't they put 332 in there? I could have sworn it said 332. I can't say for a fact. Either way, it's all Marvel Unlimited. It's all on there. It's 332, the 350 with Iron Man 228 sprinkled in there. I can't recommend this series enough. This is an all timer. Again, dialogue's a little bit gets a little bit wonky here or there, and the inner monologues of word balloons gets a little dicey.
yeah, like we talk. I've joked about like Bendis's like word salad.
Yes.
I think Grunwald is kind of the original
Mhm.
wall of text.
But at the same time, Grunwald makes it work. And I think Grunwald shows what a writer can do when you love the characters as much as he does. And I think that he's so good in this. And this is, again, one of my favorite stories. So go check it out. If you like Falcon Winter Soldier, go read these comic books because comic books are awesome. Right, Neil?
Yes,
Um, so Neil, thank you so much for joining me. I know we've kind of rescheduled a bunch of times, but this has been like a blast. I mean, I love just shooting the crap with you and we're talking comics. It's like,
we need to do like a tier maker of Iron Man suits, and we'll
dude,
just do a stream
I'm
of
in.
that.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that for when we'll do it at maybe around Armor Wars when that gets officially like kind of starts feeling fleshed out. We'll do like a big armor prelude to Armor Wars or something like that. So
I'll have to put the Squirrel Girl Hulkbuster in there somehow.
oh god, oh god. Oh man. Oh wow. Anyway, so Neil, where can people find your stuff at, man? Tell us.
Yeah, so I stream a lot of days now. I don't have like a set schedule, but I stream most Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays on twitch.tv on twitch.tv/quillsniv. I always upload stream like the important streams onto my YouTube channel, Quillsniv. That's QUILSNIV. You can find me on Twitter at Quillsniv. I post funny memes and things that I think are weird. Um, and
Yes, you
then
do.
I'm also a community mod for Spider-Man Crawl Space, so you
Right
can
on.
find me there too.
Yeah, fun stuff right there. That's where I first heard Neil from. Actually, is from the Crawl Space. So,
I
and
think you
me,
were saw me on satellites, right?
I
Or
was
was it?
it was Crawl Space because I remember yelling at you, be like Neil, like I was like in the car, I was like Neil, stop, because I disagree with you so much. But no, but again, little did I know that little Neil would be someone I'd love to have on the show with me and just talking comics with, and so it's awesome. I love it, man. But no, thank you for joining me. You can follow me on Twitter at Herman22 with two N's, aka P Thug. Please follow Comic Binge and please like and subscribe to this channel. Get it out there to promote comic books. Again, I keep teasing stuff. I'm hoping to announce something next month, but it keeps being delayed for certain things. But it will happen at some point. So big stuff, or hopefully not big stuff, but fun stuff will be announced here on the channel soon. We got a new Indie Kicks episode we're going to record next week with Alex from Comic Historians. He comic book historians, excuse me. He has a comic book that he put out, which is it's phenomenally fun. I can't recommend it enough. I can't wait to talk about it. We're going to interview him on the show, and he'll be jumping on random shows too. So anyway, again, Neil, thank you so much for joining. And as always,
Thank you for
read
having me.
absolutely. And as always, read more comic books. Bye.